Hey everybody, welcome. Welcome to Live Q&A Wednesdays. I'm Darcy. I'm the creator of the Vibrant Woman program. Listen, this is a paradigm shifting, scientifically supported program built around the principles and the tools that I used to heal myself completely naturally of my own rock bottom burnout a little more than a decade ago. If you haven't been here for very long, if you haven't heard this story before, I'll be very brief, but I was I had complete adrenal fatigue. I call it burnout, but it's exhaustion. I was covered head to toe in a painful, itchy rash. That was my thyroid going down, causing food allergies. It was literally like the tumbling effect of dominoes. Once my adrenals blew, it was thyroid, it was food allergies and digestion, hormones, exhaustion. I couldn't get out of bed. My hair was falling out. I was a terrible parent. I dropped all the pieces that I had tried for so long to hold all by myself, which is basically everything I was doing to single-handedly, as a single mom, heal my daughter's neonatal brain injury. So I walked her down a rehab path to teach her brain how to recover and to do the things that it, wasn't going to be able to do on its own without neurological interventions. Anyway, holding all of that, basically it just became too much and I burned out. Now listen, those experts told me that I was going to end up on meds for the rest of my life. I should have been on hypothyroid medicine. They were using a whole bunch of really fancy labels for me. And if you followed my story at all, you know how I feel about labels. They are a snapshot of a moment in time. And yes, my health in that moment in time was terrible, but I did not want that to define who I was going to be for the rest of my life. So I took all of these tools. Many of them I learned on that journey, helping to heal my daughter's brain injury. Many of them took me into new places, meeting new experts, learning new things, going deeper on some of the things that I had already felt, a little proficiency in, things like nutrition and exercise intensity. And anyway, I dove deep into those trenches and healed myself. Didn't happen overnight. I like to say actually the path back from burnout, it doesn't stop. It never stops. You're still on the path and that path keeps going. And where it leads is to thriving. And that's where I live today. But I still have a body and I still have to feed it. I still have to move it. I still have to rest it. And if I lose track of that, then I don't want to go backwards on that path. That's why I'm here. I am here to help other women avoid metabolic disease and burnout, or if you're already on that path, 88% of us actually, 88% of adults in US culture today. And that might be the whole Western world. And these statistics, of course, are white-centric and incomplete. But listen, those are scary numbers. Only about 8 to 12% of adults are metabolically healthy today. So we need a paradigm shift. I don't know if you've noticed, but that sick care system with its labels and its pharmaceuticals, it's not really addressing root causes of disease. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to share with anybody who wants to listen and get on the path to thriving, the tools that I used, the understanding that I found. I'm not the only one. But if my voice is the voice you can hear today, then welcome. I'm going to answer the questions I got this week. If you follow along week to week, what these Q&A sessions really add up to is like a course in how to thrive in your human body. It's like a course on healing, or better yet, avoiding metabolic disease. So little by little, topic by topic, week by week, I am here to continue to drip this really important transformative information into your cup so that you can begin to feel filled up with that knowledge. You can begin to feel filled up with the confidence that yes, you can trust the wisdom and the messages coming from your body. Most of the message, when I talk about messages from our body, messages of illness or that you're on the path to metabolic disease, what I mean by that are the symptoms. Symptoms are the ways that our bodies talk to us. And 10 times out of 10, those symptoms are simply an attempt to adapt. So if we are attacking and targeting symptoms and masking symptoms and trying to hide symptoms and medicate symptoms, we're still missing the message that they bring us, aren't we? So what we need to do is look deeper. We need to listen to those symptoms. We need to look at what adaptation they are representing. What's the body trying to do? Yeah, so that we can begin to address the root causes. And I'm just going to tell you that basically the root cause of most of what the questions that come my way, the folks that I'm working with, and hey, Farida, I'm so glad you're here. How are you? Good to see you. The root cause of most of the stuff that I address with clients in my private practice, women in my Vibrant Woman course, it's diet. So most of the content that you see on my pages these days is about nutrition, because I feel like if there's one simple, powerful tool that we can use to help our bodies uncover their wellness, basically get rid of the obstacles to illness, it's that tool, because a lot of the harm that we see is coming from what we feed our bodies. We're actually doing harm with our modern diets. So that's why I'm here. I want to get to these few questions that I have today. I'll answer any of your questions from you live watchers as well. Feel free to type in questions. Again, my computer's being naughty, so I'm on a phone. I'll do my best to find those questions in a minute. I'm not as proficient using my phone to do this, but we'll figure it out. And we'll just start with this. This is a question I get almost every week in some form, okay? And so I'm going to lump these all together and do my best to address what this question is really asking. So it sounds something like this. Darcy, what cleanse or detox do you recommend? What detox is best to do? I get this question a lot too, like if I do a detox, how long does it take? All right, so what I want to do is unravel this for a minute, and I want us to think about some of the, don't take this in a harsh way, but often when a question is difficult to answer, I sometimes find this question difficult to answer, and here's why. It's often because there's a lie hidden in it, okay? And what that means is it's on a really shaky foundation. So let's unravel this, let's get to the root of it, and then let me help clear this up for so many of you who probably are thinking like this, right? We're trained to think about treating the body so symptomatically that sometimes we forget that that's really how we're thinking of it. So really, what this question is asking is, how long do I have to do this thing, this program? What do I need to do to my body to make it better? What do I need to do to my body, put in or stop putting in, so it can just detox, so it can get healthy and then feel better? And a lot of people want to know, how long do I have to detox? And the problem with that question is that it is such symptomatic thinking, all right? Now, it's not your fault, and it's a great question, and I'm delighted to answer it. So give me a couple of minutes to just set the stage for this, and then I'm going to tell you exactly what I want you to do to help your body detox. Because yes, we live in a toxic world, all right? But here's what I want you to understand. Basically, the reason that we ask this question and the reason that we have things out there like detoxes are because there are people who profit from selling products that, and think about it, natural healing, nutraceuticals, health coaching, these are multi-billion-dollar industries now, because there are enough of us who are wise to the fact that we only have a sick care system. And if we don't want to go that route, if we don't want to totally give up our authority to someone in those white coats, if we don't want to go down the path of beginning pharmaceutical interventions, and what I mean by that is you never end up with just one pharmaceutical, because it's going to cause symptoms that you're going to need another pharmaceutical for. By the time my dad died, he was taking probably over 20 different kinds of medication. Yeah, because that whole thing. All right. So there are lots of people getting in on the market as well into natural healing. So they want to sell us a detox or a cleanse, okay? Whether that's a product or a service. And I don't do this. I don't do it. If you wanted to come and take a cleanse with me, I'm going to have to disappoint you. I do have things that I teach about how to make sure the body detoxes, and I'll tell you about them in just a minute. But it's not necessarily this kind of just do this thing. Usually we think of it as an uncomfortable thing too. Detoxing the body has a reputation for being uncomfortable, which is why we want it to be short term. So you buy a detox, you buy a cleanse, you do it for a short time. Your body gets rid of some of the things that you think are making it feel bad. And then what? Then do you go back to your normal lifestyle, the one that caused you to need a detox? Does that make any sense? Well, it doesn't to me. And it doesn't because of the journey I've taken from burnout to healing. And I can see that there really are no biohacks. Now, there are things the body requires. There are, hey, Matt, kisses to Europe from me, from the US. Thank you for being here. Good to see you. There are things the body needs to heal and to do its work. But we don't want to look at this as just like, I'm going to do a detox for a short amount of time and then I'm going to go back to my toxic lifestyle. That is not how this really works. It's not something I propose is really effective, and it's not something I'm going to advocate for or sell you my time in coaching to teach you how to do that. What I'm going to teach you how to do is really pull up the root causes, and we'll talk more about those in just a minute. All right, so the other part of unraveling this is that understanding that's a bit of a myth. It's not like we have to do something special to get the body to detox. The body knows how to detox. It's basically doing this round the clock all day, every day. But especially the body is good at detoxing itself when it's fasting. So in between meals. And the folks that work with me closely, I don't necessarily advocate for fasting right up front, especially if you've got a sugar burning metabolism, if you're eating a lot of carbs. I talk about carb tolerance almost all the time. That's not what this Q&A is about, but it's definitely related. So the idea is that when we're fasting, when the body's digestive system is resting, that is a very powerful detox time. Also while we're sleeping. But basically the body knows what to do. It is detoxing all the time. Most of you are probably familiar with the liver. That might be the most famous detox organ, but we have a couple of others as well. The skin. The skin is the largest organ of detoxification in the body. And then we have another one, the lungs. Okay, so our breathing, the exchange that happens in the lungs is not just CO2 for O2, it's also one of the most powerful ways that we expel toxins from the body, right? So we breathe them out. Hey, James, indeed. Good to see you here. Thanks for being here. Okay, so we don't just want to focus on a liver cleanse. We want to make sure that we are living in a way, and this is what I teach, is a lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle of just round the clock, regular, healthy, bit by bit detoxification. So what we really want to do is lower the amount of toxins coming into the body and support the body's ability to eliminate toxins naturally on its own all the time. That, over time, as a regular practice, it's what I teach. And this is the kind of detoxification I'm going to advocate for. So without going into a lot of, personal recommendations, I'm going to give you some basic guidelines that I want you to follow, okay? And I'm going to check my notes because, again, I like to talk and go down my rabbit holes, and I want to keep to the points here. So listen, the most important thing that you can do to help your body detox is nutrition. A lot of us are actually taking in foods that are full of toxins, not taking in enough nutrient-dense foods that would support the body's natural detox process. And what I mean by that is you're eating too much sugar, too many grains and processed carbohydrate foods, too many just packaged foods that are devoid of nutrients, okay, and that actually bring in toxins. If you did not see my recent label reading webinar, the one where I talk about how to decipher your labels, what's really in food, where the nasties are hiding, I highly recommend that. It talks about one of the most insidious toxins on the planet that's making its way into more than 70% of bread products on the shelf, okay? So that is something you can either send me a DM or go over to my website, darcyhawkshurst.com. The mini coaching packages page has that webinar. You can sign up for that. It's very low cost. Take you about 2 hours to get through it if you're going to stop and take notes, and you will learn how you can easily stop taking in a huge source of toxins into your body today. Okay, so learn about that. Hey, Megan, good to see you. Glad you're here. So what I really encourage people to do then is to take in less of those processed foods because you're bringing toxins in with them. Things like pesticides, herbicides, glyphosate, and not to mention the stress and inflammation caused by having a diet that's too high in processed foods, too high in carbohydrates. Now, what's too high? Well, that's really not for me to say. That's for your body to say. That's one of the other powerful things I teach, which is carbohydrate tolerance. So everybody really needs to know what their own personal carb tolerance is. It's not that hard to figure out. Highly recommend it. That is a perfect place to start. When I talk about doing a carb test, though, which will include a short period of time where you eliminate processed carbs, I don't see that as a detox. It is a form of elimination as a test, as a support to the body. It's not a detox. It's not one of these sort of temporary symptomatic treatments that you just do to try to fix something and then go back to your old ways. The carbohydrate tolerance testing helps you know the amount of carb you should be eating, and it helps you understand the symptoms in your body when you go over. So hopefully you don't go over. You don't go back to your old ways. You learn what you needed to learn, and then you implement that. You move forward with that information and live that way. That's how your body thrives. All right, so the point is, stop eating stuff with toxins in it if you can help it. I'm here to help if you need more help with that. Take in more nutrient-dense food. This is all the colors of the rainbow in terms of vegetables. It's organic, if possible. Really, organic is really important for all of us, but especially for somebody who's asking a question about detoxification. Most of the toxins that come into our body come in through food or through personal care products, and I'll get to that in a second. But I want you to take in as many different colors. Why is that important? Because all of those different colors represent different nutrients. And the fact that our soil's all bunk these days, the soil's just about ruined. It doesn't have that many nutrients in it anyway. The problem is that even if we're eating natural produce, it doesn't have everything that it used to have in it. It doesn't have everything that our bodies need. So we really do need to be taking in organic produce, lots of different colors, all of those different nutrients. We know the big ones, right? Vitamin A, vitamin C, there's a family of vitamin Bs. We need to get all that stuff, vitamin C. But the point is there are millions of unnamed phytonutrients that come through good soil into the plants that we need to take into our bodies because our bodies evolved in partnership. I'm pointing out my window, co-creating with nature, with that natural environment. So we really do need to make sure that we're taking in all of those nutrients because those nutrients are the source of the body's cells being able to go through all of their processes. The detox process, the rebuilding process, all of that. So more good nutrients is the best detox you can do. And you don't have to do it with some kind of expensive, crazy shake that you're going to make and only do that for 2 weeks. I just want you to eat really good, healthy, nutritious food all the time. And when you do that, your body will naturally detox itself. Okay? That's what it's up to. It's always doing this. It knows what to do. We just have to support it as naturally as we can. So the other really important thing is when we talk about animal proteins, and I definitely advocate for eating animal proteins if it aligns with your values, if it aligns with your body. And again, this is something we just have to pay attention to. I definitely, for myself, I don't tolerate plant protein, so I definitely eat a lot of animal protein. And dairy is a little touch and go for me. It's a little iffy for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. The point is, if you're eating animal protein, you have to understand that they do exactly what we do. So they store all of their, number one, they live in toxic environments like we do. Perhaps if it's factory farmed, I don't recommend that. I think eating animal protein is a good step. It's better than fake plant proteins. I don't want you to eat fake anything. But the point is, if we can, we need to eat the best quality that we can afford and that we can find. Now for me, that means most of my meat 95% of my meat comes directly from a local farmer who does not use chemical inputs on their land. So the animals I'm consuming don't live in such a toxic environment, except there's acid rain. There's so much we can't control. And here's what I want you to think about. Animals will naturally store their toxins. Yes, they're processed through that liver. So if you're going to eat liver, it has to be organic. But they also store their toxins. They sequester them away from the body. We do this in fat. So fat storage tends to be full of toxins. All right? That is important if you're going to eat animal fat, like dairy, cream, milk, yogurt, butter. All of that stuff needs to be organic as well, because then you're getting the most toxin-free product that you can, because that animal was not living in such a toxic environment. And so there won't be as much of that stored in their fat. So if you're going to eat animal fat, please do yourself a favor, your kids a favor, and make it organic, right? So there's that. Eating the healthy diet, not eating the junk with toxins in it, how to discern, the best sources of I'm not even going to say toxin-free food, but lower in toxins if possible. All right, now let's talk about the other part of a healthy lifestyle that helps our bodies to detox. Let's talk about movement, all right? Because like I said, the skin and the lungs are together much more powerful at eliminating toxins than even that liver pathway, all right? So we want to get moving outside and we want to get sweating. It's really important. This is how we eliminate all kinds of stuff. Now, the best way to get moving outside if possible, definitely you want to be deep breathing. You want to do that not next to a highway where you're breathing in the toxins. You want to try to find a green way. You want to be exchanging CO2 with O2 with other nearby plants if possible. I've got a wonderful trail that's near my house that I go to. Maybe you can just do it around your neighborhood. So find a way to get out among nature, in nature, and breathe deep. It might be a jog. It might just be a walk. Definitely in my private coaching package and in my Vibrant Woman course coming up at the end of the year. Everybody learns what their ideal target heart rate is. It's really important that we do not exercise in a way that's way too intense. We don't want to cause more stress with our exercise. So definitely, here's the rule of thumb. If you can breathe in and out through your nose, it's a pretty good intensity, okay? Not going to go into all those numbers today, but if you're curious, send me a DM. We can talk more about the specifics to that intensity. But getting outside, deep breathing, getting up a good sweat. If your exercise doesn't help you get up a sweat, you can sweat in a sauna. You can sweat in a hot Epsom bath, right? You don't have to do it every day, but definitely once a week. We want to get sweating and eliminate toxins through the skin. And the other thing, bye Matt, see you. The other thing I want to make sure that I am clear on here is that, sorry, I totally just lost my train of thought. Exercising outside, sweating. Oh, to watch your skin, because the skin is a powerful organ of detoxification. It's the largest organ of detoxification. You need to take a look at your skin, and instead of asking yourself questions like, what product do I need to make my skin look better? Women are especially more marketed to all of this stuff. What we put on our skin ends up in all the same places, in our bloodstream, in all of our cells. And my mentor and friend, Dr. Phil Maffetone, he would say, don't put anything on your skin that you're not willing to eat. Okay? And he's not joking. So what I want you to think about is keeping your skin clear and fresh, free of products as much of the time as possible, using all natural products when you can. Read the labels on your products. They are full of things that don't belong on or in a human body, okay? And that's the other source. That's where we're taking in a lot of toxins, is through our skincare products, our makeup, our shampoo, our lotion, our deodorants, full of toxic products, the things we clean our house with, what you cleaned your bathtub with, what's in your laundry detergent. All of those things are bringing toxins into the body, and it's really important that we take a look at that. Again, I teach that in my Vibrant Woman course coming up at the end of the year. So if you want to know where some of that stuff is hiding, you might keep your ears peeled for how to register for that. I'll be letting you know in the next couple of weeks about that. Okay, but take a look and make sure we're bringing in less toxins and that we're moving our bodies, sweating enough, resting enough that we are naturally allowing the detox to happen. Get outside and move so that you're breathing them out, sweat so that you're sweating them out, and then sleep. Sleep is just really, really important. So many things happen during sleep. In fact, so many things happen during sleep. There's an entire module on it in my course and in my coaching program. We need to know, basically, we just need to get more sleep. We've got lights, artificial lights. We've got busy schedules. We are pretty much addicted to the stress of the modern world, and it's not doing us any favors in terms of stress or detoxing or in terms of our ability, our neurological organization. Kids with learning disabilities is on the rise. Adults with Alzheimer's and dementia is on the rise. We are not taking care of our brains. Sleep is one of the most important things that we can do. So I'm going to advocate for sleep in terms of your detox as well. There's a lot of things that happen when we sleep because the resources are available to do it. All right. Well, I think that's it. Any questions about toxins, detoxing? James, I see you get good animal proteins and you exercise around trees. So I'm really glad to hear that. Good for you. Any other questions about detoxing, moving your body, what to eat or not eat? The other thing I want to say is just like I'm advocating that we just begin to live a more natural lifestyle that facilitates this sort of ongoing process of detox, I want you to understand this is a process. This is not something that will happen overnight. Some of the changes that I advocate for are big changes for some people. And I'm just here to speak to the power of them. If you had told me back when I was a 21-year-old single mother, new mother, college student, subsisting on pretzels out of a box and Diet Coke by the case, and feeling like shit pretty much all the time, not even knowing that to connect those things. I had no idea the amount of vibrant energy that really is available to a human being. And don't tell me that things get worse as you get older. I've done nothing but thrive more every year I've been alive on the planet. And it's because every year I'm more in touch with my body. I understand what she needs. I'm better able to provide it. It's the momentum, folks. We just have to get the momentum going the other way. And that's just a little by little by little process because momentum does build. So some of the changes that were hard in the beginning, I hated giving up sugar. I hated it. I spent all my time thinking about sugar and researching recipes with sugar or without sugar, and none of them were as good as the real ones with sugar. And, there were parts of this journey that were not easy. But definitely, it gets better with time. It gets easier with time, and it becomes more and more clear what things work for your body and what things don't. And listening to your body, you only get one, right? You just really only get this one body in this lifetime. And I, for one, think it's absolutely worth it to make it the best it can be and to love it as much as I can. I know it's always trying to love me. So, yeah, I hear you, James. James says when he gave up Ben & Jerry's, his body craved sugar for some time after. Of course it did. If you have a sugar-burning metabolism, your cells will call for sugar, sometimes not so nicely. That is one of the reasons that I teach the mini coaching package that I teach. In a month, I can help you get from complete sugar addict to understanding what your carbohydrate tolerance is and the relief of no longer being addicted to sugar. Basically, that's what this entire program is about. This is all about switching from a sugar-burning metabolism to a fat-burning metabolism. And it's about releasing toxins so that your body can thrive naturally and do what it's meant to do. So I'm here for it, and I'm so glad you all are here for it. I had another question that I wanted to touch on, and it's definitely related to this. A question that I got this week, and I've heard, again, versions of this with all my clients. People want to know, hey, Esther, glad to see you. I'm so glad you're here. People want to know, what are the best sports bars? And sometimes they ask, what are the best sports drinks? If you've listened to any of my other Q&As, if you go to my YouTube channel, you can see my other Q&As there. There's one about hydration and electrolytes, and I diss on Gatorade all the time. I'm not big enough for them to do anything I'm not going to get any backlash on that. But, here's the point. Sports bars, sports drinks, all of these things have something in common. And it's something that I really want to help teach people to be aware of. There's a profit margin on the line there. These products that are made, did you know about 6 companies own all of the packaged foods on the planet? 6 companies. There's a couple of other smaller ones, but 6 major companies. And even organic products, or all the organic dairies, have been bought up by one of these 6 companies. Now, they keep the brands, and for the most part, they keep the integrity. If it's organic, on the label, it has to be organic. There's tracing for all of that. Good to see you, James. Come back next time. So here's the deal. When we see things like sports drinks and sports bars and, keto and paleo on all of those labels now, we have to really ask ourselves, who is selling that? What do they do with the money I pay them? Do you think they're invested in social justice around the planet, with water justice around the planet, with cleaning up the environment, with climate change? We really have to ask what these giant corporations are doing with the profits that they make. And if they're invested as much in our health as they are in growing their profit margins. So, all of that to say, if it comes in a wrapper from a major company, I'm super skeptical. I don't think there is anything in a sports bar that I can't just take into my body by eating a meat and salad. Now, not as convenient, right? You can't keep a meat and salad in your gym bag, right? You can't eat that on the run. You can't throw it in the backseat to your kids when you pick them up from school. So yes, I understand the need for convenience foods, but the best sports bars are the ones, number one, that you either make yourself at home, and I have recipes for stuff like that. If you're not already on my email list, I'll put a link nearby. Come subscribe to my email newsletter list. It's free. I send one out about every week. There's not always a recipe. There's often a recipe because I'm passionate about helping people learn to eat better and just eat real food. The second best sports bar is the one with the fewest ingredients. Ingredients you can pronounce, ingredients you know where they came from. Now, those brands might be different based on region and country, so I typically don't buy them. If I had any in the house, I'd have my favorite brands to show you. One of the things I welcome people to do is to sometimes send me pictures of their labels, and then we can talk about sort of what's wrong with that, because you want to avoid stuff that you just can't pronounce, that you don't know where it came from. There's a lot of protein isolates. There's a lot of fancy sounding artificial ingredients packaged in a wrapper. It's basically a candy bar, and they want you to think it's healthy and that you need it after your workout, and you don't. What you really need is just real food. There are plenty of real foods that are portable and packable and you can drop in the bottom of your purse or your gym bag or keep in the car for the kids. So there's plenty of that stuff. The sports drinks, also, most of them are glorified sugar water with artificial coloring added. I don't recommend them. What I do recommend is making sure that you do get proper electrolytes. I did another Q&A on that. Head over to my YouTube channel and look for the Q&A on electrolytes, and you can learn more about the ones that I recommend there, okay? So that's what I want to say about that. And again, if you find yourself a little triggered or a little disappointed sometimes by the things that I say, because I know a lot of health coaches are out there selling products. I mean, they want you to take a powder or a pill or, these great new products. And the truth is, to have really good, vibrant health the natural way, we don't need all that stuff. That's why I consider the Vibrant Woman program an act of revolution. It's an act of unraveling, of disconnecting from darn capitalism. We don't need to buy all that stuff that they think we need to buy, which is why eating healthier, this is one of the things I get pushback sometimes. People say, oh, I can't afford to eat healthier. It's too expensive to eat organic. Well, it's too expensive to not, actually, in the long run. What's your healthcare deductible? What's your insurance premium every year? How much are you spending on drive-ups? How much do you spend on junk food? Yeah, so eating real natural whole earth-based food is not more expensive in the long run. But just to make sure that you know how to get healthy food in your house, convenient and easy and affordably, I'm going to be hosting a meal planning workshop coming up on the 24th. So in about 2 weeks, I'll be putting stuff all over social media to promote that. And if that's something you're interested in, I would love to hear from you. I would love a little help sharing it. If you think this information is interesting, please like, comment, and share so that I can find all the folks out there who need to know what I'm teaching so that they can have a healthy, happy life in their human body. God, I remember what it felt like to just be burnt out and exhausted and bloated and ashamed, and it's not good. And I walked this path back mostly alone. I found the experts I needed to teach me, but I certainly didn't have a one-on-one coach, and I didn't have a community of people doing it. In fact, it was quite the opposite. I was living around a lot of people who were still kind of doing, the old toxic things that I knew would kill me if I kept going down that path. So I'm just here for you so that you don't feel alone, so that you don't have to worry, so that you don't have to just Google all of your questions, because Lord knows Google is a handy tool, but if you read far enough, you're going to find 7 things that contradict the first 7 things you read. So that's why I'm here, folks. It's a paradigm shift into real, lasting, vibrant, sustainable health in your human body. I'm so glad you all were here with me today. This was the funnest Q&A I had with all your participation. Thank you to James and Matt and Megan, Esther, all the folks who were here. I'm delighted. Listen, I got one more question, but we're out of time. And let me just plant this seed for you. All natural allergy remedies. So I got a question about what I recommend in terms of the all natural allergy remedies. This is allergy season in the Northern Hemisphere here where I live. And I'll tell you, this used to be the absolute bane of my existence. This time of year, I would be completely doped up on 2 or 3 or 4 different kinds of allergy medications. I would have been basically a walking zombie because the side effects of them. I would have still been scratching my eyes out, and my nose would have been running. I'd be sneezing all over the place. And so I just want to say, no allergies in sight. Now, how did that happen? How did I possibly completely outgrow all of my allergies and no need for medication? That's a story I'm telling next week. So what we're going to talk about is the root cause of allergies and what's really going on, how they're related to inflammation, and what you can actually do about it if you would like to begin to leave medications behind. Won't happen the first year probably, but you can definitely get on that path as well if you'd like. I'm there. I'm just saying, if I could do it, there's nothing, my dad would disagree, but there's nothing special about me. I got a human body, same as yours. I've just learned to listen to what works for it and what does not. All right. And I'm here to teach you to do that as well. If you want to, come along. It's a paradigm shift. Are you coming? I hope so. All right. So I'm going to put some links nearby. Come back next week. We'll talk about allergy medications and what you can do. And I'm so glad you were here. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.